right. Well, yo.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Good evening to you in Liberia. We say welcome to Liberia Shall Rise. I am here with Mr. Sapalucia. Mr. Sapalucia, how you doing, boss?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. Thank God for life. We are alive. It's hot in Houston, Texas. And I don't know where you are, but I hope the weather is better than mine because it's very hot here. But anyway, we thank God for life because we are alive. That's all we can feed the heat. There are many people who will be wishing to feed us heat right now, but they can't. So because of that, we want to say thank God and thank God for all of you guys and seeing you guys again. I know our Hempstone CEO is in the back. I want to say thank God for you guys. Thank God for your family. And thank God for our audience.
All right, man. I'm super excited that we got the show going today. No matter what happened, the show will be on the road, and we got to go no matter what the situation is, right? And so today, though, we want to. I know the drug issue in Liberia is one thing that have dominated the news, and everybody is talking about it. We can't help but to add our voices. While we may not have all of the information, while the investigation is ongoing, while people are still in the process of putting things together, we hope they are putting things together. We can't help but to report on the little that we have and what we have seen in the news, what we have seen in the headlines. And maybe I will ask you before we even go to the topic that we're discussing today, because we want to just focus on one point. What is the danger or what is the impact of being classified as a narco state? That is this word or phrase that we have heard floating around. But before we get to that place, though, I want to get to just something that came up in the news where we actually found that some members of the government, I don't want to say administration because it depends where you are. I don't want to say administration because that sounds like I'm saying ministers or senators, but some members of the government, whether it's security apparatus, they have been arrested, and some of them have been sent to jail. So let's start from there, Sapalucia. Just on a question before we go to the meat of our conversation. What is
Yeah.
your take on the government's efforts so far before we really get to where we want to get today?
Well, now, I mean, if we go back in history as compared to many other administrations, especially the last two administrations, and with this one, I think if I could be wrong, I think this is the first time we have seen members of the security forces, and I could be wrong, that have been either charged or under interrogation, and with this number, actually, let's put it the number to it.
Yeah, so
This
I was going to say the number because the last
Yeah, the
administration,
number about 12 of them, because I know yes, in the past they have accused one or two, but we didn't see anything. But this huge number, and we're still hearing, especially what the police director himself said, very, very senior government officials, and as he also mentioned about appointed presidential appointees as well.
but he said in
So
the past administration, let's correct that.
yeah,
He
no,
said in the
he did
past
too.
administration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both of them. He said it in the past administration about that, and he also said very, very high. I mean, very, very senior. Officials in this
In this
administration.
government.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in this government. So
Yeah.
that is striking. All right. Now, I think somebody asked me. I think on Friday somebody asked me to join their show, and we discussed similar thing. And the way I look at it is, we need to start addressing the root cause, right? It is easy to
Because
blame.
okay.
Yeah, it is easy to blame what is happening now, but I think we need to first of all engage the root cause of the situation before we start pointing fingers. That's how I want to approach it.
Okay. So I guess the question I was still asking, and I still want to know exactly where you are with this.
So
Look,
when it comes to that, I think so far this number of people being charged, some of them, and some under investigation, is tracking, and it shows that the government has is trying to do something. But again, I don't want to have a high hope based on experience, based on past experience, because we have seen these things. People get arrested, and that's the end of the story. So it shows to public that the government is doing something. What the end result is where we have to wait for.
And somebody said I will be very blunt about the situation, right? I know you have political ambition in Liberia, so you don't want to come out and say how you want to say it. But I'll be very blunt about the situation. Look, I am happy that people are being arrested, and these individuals, hopefully, they will be tried, and then there will be subsequent sentencing. I hope that's the case. But again, the reason I say this with trepidation, the reason I say this with caution, is because of what happened in the last go around with the last drug cases.
Mhm.
You and I have read excerpts. We have read the report where yes, people were arrested, and those some of those individuals were in jail.
Mhm.
And today, no one can give us account how they walked from jail, how they left the country, how those people disappeared.
Mhm.
So I am not the guy, I'm not the cheerleader who is standing around and clapping my hands and say, oh yeah, this government is arresting people. I would love to see that, look, not only arresting, because it could be a smoke screen for all I care. It could be a smoke screen where people you're going to arrest someone and just make it look like you're doing something. But at the
Mhm.
same time you're arresting these people, you're telling them, oh man, sorry, we gotta lock you up, but we'll come back and free you.
Yeah.
You know, because we know that those individuals who have been implicated so far, who are alleged to be part of this conspiracy, let's just put it as a conspiracy, if you think it is, those who are part of this drug thing, unfortunately, some of them are very close to the higher ups. And in Liberia, we have this saying that if you hold the rope will hold the bush,
Mhm.
right? And then so because of that, I can definitely say, look, Mr. Police, I heard me to lock you up, but I gotta lock you up for the better good of the country. Let me lock you up, but I promise you, less than 6 months we'll free you. Trust me. The same way we free other people when nobody know, nobody have no hair, no tear, the same thing gonna happen. So you're being politically correct here. You're trying to sugarcoat it because you're going to run for senator at some point. No, no. I mean, you're a good person. If you run for senator, I'll be there. I will be there to support you. I'll go on your campaign trail. As long as you buy my plane ticket to come to Liberia, I'll be on your campaign trail. I knew you since you were in ninth grade with me. You're a good character human being. I can't say anything negative about you. You
Thank,
know, and and,
thank
and
you for
so I
vouching
would
for me.
definitely, yeah, I would definitely be on the campaign trail. I would not worry about it. If people come out and say, oh, they may get 10, 7 children outside marriage, I will be there to defend you because that's not the truth. And so they can throw all the propaganda out there. That's what they do in Liberia. When they have
Mhm.
no substance to talk about on the campaign trail, then they want to start bringing dirt. But
Yeah.
we'll talk about that when we get there. So I don't want you to sugarcoat it because the way you address this issue today, the way your people in Bon County, in Salala, in Totota, the way they hear you today, because your Totota people are always watching, the way they hear you today, that is the trust that they're going to have with you tomorrow when you stand there and say, I will defend you. They will know exactly how you address this issue.
Which is true. And I ask that people be held accountable when it comes to addressing national issues because we have to be upfront about it. However, though, we still have to have that reservation because you never know. Some surprising things can happen. And like I said, the reason I'm holding those reservations because of past experience, right? Because people tell us they arrest people, they have arrested high people and low people for the same crime. The high people walk away, the low people in the same crime.
Okay. Oh man, the crazy thing about our country is this. You arrest that Prophet Key for causing somebody's mother. And the man is doing his sentence. I think Prophet Key come out of jail this month.
Yeah, it should
His
be.
6 months should be over this month. So Prophet Key he spent his entire 6 months. I've never seen anything like that. Because look, in any judicial system, there are different things that you follow.
Yeah,
If you say this person is sentenced to jail for 30 years, that person have to at least serve a quarter of that sentence, and then maybe they are scheduled for how you call it? They call it parole. They
yeah.
do all of those different things, right? So what in the world today now that we are sitting here, why Prophet King got to serve his full sentence? Look, it's not my problem. It's not
Well,
my problem.
you got good conduct. Maybe the man is in jail, he's not exhibiting good conduct. So it could be that can cause. I'm just saying because those are some of the reasons that the person will serve their full sentence. If they show remorse and sort of
He's
and
still
some
causing people man when he in jail. He's still causing people man.
maybe I don't know.
But anyway, let's get to the meat of this. No, but
Yeah.
look, I applaud the government for the arrest they have done. But look, Sabalisa, as I was looking at the list of those that have been arrested, I don't know, I was shocked. I was shocked. And I know the president is not firing some of these people directly. He is asking or giving orders for those individuals to be suspended or to be fired. And I respect that because the
Yeah.
president is not saying, I'll fire you. He can't do it. It's not his place to
Yeah.
do
So
such
one,
things.
and not to cut you off, but there was one word they keep using that I don't want to agree with, right? Because one of the terminologies I use for military, the president can give directive. Orders normally come
Mhm.
from the military, right? And he's not a military
Yeah.
president. So those nomenclature has to be used in the right place and the right time. That's how I feel. So at least that you say the president gave a directive that this person should be fired or suspended. But when you say order, then you're talking military term. That's that. I mean, that's
Okay. I
just
mean, and I'm glad you brought that up because you are the military personnel. You are the guy in the
yeah.
military. You know about that. So that is your line of practice. But when I look at the list of those that were being ordered, I'm going to use that word, ordered to be suspended or fired or getting rid of as a result of this drug case. There was few names I saw in there. There was, I think, that just maybe to raise my eyebrow, like, are we serious right now? Now, talk to me about a person from gender ministry. The gender ministry, the procurement officer for gender ministry, who was to be let go. And I'm sitting here scratching my head. I said, is he implicated in the drug? Look, if he's implicated in the drug and we track it, we trace it, and we say, okay, he was one of the main players in this drug issue, and the gender ministry was just a smoke screen, it was just a facade, I have no problem with it whatsoever. But if that was not the case, then I have, why are we including this? Is that person already on the radar? I mean, there was a plan to get rid of this person, and this was just an opportunity to do a wholesome kind of directive. Is that the idea behind it? So those kind of things actually made me to scratch my head. And maybe
Mhm.
the person around you who is not a key player. I'm not talking about Emmanuel Kwa, but I'm talking about someone who is not a key player, who is just, you know, a non-factor, so to speak. Is that
And see,
person part of this big picture?
yeah, and see how long it took for the queer guy who is deputy managing director at the airport, where his name has surfaced earlier in the first document that came out, but he was still working. I mean, so
Mhm.
and that's why some of us are being skeptical, right? That yes, we want to really clap for the government, but at the same time, we don't want to do a huge bang. We just want to just give a little time and watch what's going on. Because to be frank, some of the names that because remember now, let us know. You and I sat here, we talk about the IG posture in the Senate hearing. And
Sure.
his posture for his first press briefing after that situation when you're naming the first two person of interest and whatever, how, in my opinion, from my observation, how timid he was when he was pronouncing that he was press briefing, and how aggressive he was when he in front of the Senate.
Sure.
One person, two
Very
different,
defensive. Very.
yeah, two different characteristics, and that got me to start thinking what's going on. And then when we come to find out, most of the names that came out are people that are very close to him, not just professionally, but what people are speculating. Again, speculating. I want to give that disclaimer. Based on what people are speculating, these people are also involved with him outside of work, right? Because they got personal pictures and stuff they're showing, personal videos and stuff of them interacting. I have people that work for me in my department, but that's all we do. We work. They don't know where I live. They don't go to my, they don't know anything about me. That's all they know, work. So that's a professional relationship. But if I take that person and we hang it out, go to the bar, we go to the club, we go to other places, that become a personal relationship, right?
Sure.
So there was for me when I see those things and hear about these things, then it got me thinking, okay, this is not just professional relationship, this is also personal relationship. What's going on here, right? So yes, these names are coming out, and he doesn't really want to be vocal as he was or aggressive as he was in the Senate hearing when he calling these names out, and he's dragging his feet, in my opinion, dragging his feet to get these people, recommended for for suspension or arrest or whatever you want to call it. So that kind of create for some of us some kind of doubt that anything will happen.
Okay. Okay. And so let's go to the meat of our broadcast today. What we really want to talk about. One of the things that keeps coming up is this idea of people maybe in their frustration or maybe in their partisan sentiment. People have been using a label one way or the other based on what side of the aisle you are, whether it's the left or right. People have been using those labels, and one of those labels that have been flying off the hook that I have seen so many times, that I've heard so many times, is this concept of Liberia being deemed a narco state. And there's a danger that actually come with that labeling. To label a country a narco state based on maybe you find significant amount of drug in a country, or maybe you find this to be the case, or you find that, look, even the countries to our north that are our neighbors here, we are very careful not to consider them a narco state, even though we know how many people are dying every day. We know people who are, I mean, we heard of the shootings. We know how deep entrenched they are in the government. But we stop short of labeling that country a narco state. And because it comes with a price. So let's look at this concept. What are some of the pitfalls? What are some of the dangers of looking at a country and calling that country a narco state? The very first thing, University of Google actually lays this out. You have this whole idea of the erosion of state legitimacy. So basically, though, it just simply means maybe 2 weeks ago we did a whole show here on this concept of whether Liberia is a dependent nation or independent nation. And so we did a whole show on that particular concept. If you were to look at you were to look at Liberia and label Liberia a narco state, you undermine the legitimacy of the entire government. Oh, somebody got to turn that thing off, man. You guys got something going on there. Somebody got something going on there. Y'all turn that thing off. Yeah, maybe somebody calling you from Liberia. I don't know, but there's a lot of noise in the background. But yeah, so if you go and you label a country a narco state, so basically you are just saying that, look, there is discredit. You just undermine the legitimacy of the government as a whole. You are saying that this is a government of corruption, this is a government of intimidation, this is a government that cannot be trusted. So it erodes the entire trust in the government system. And so that's one of the dangers I see. And Sapalusa, do you think, though, that Liberia is at that point where we want to go and erode our entire government system and give it over now to the cartel and say, this is a cartel state. It's no longer a free government. It's not no longer a government where Liberia can govern itself. Forget about what you think about Liberia being independent or dependent.
No, I'm not going to think about the independent or dependency stuff. But let's be real here. Okay. I know Liberia, we don't think about the consequences of the languages that we use only because of political sentiments, in my opinion. And in fact, it's not even just an opinion anymore because it's a true observation that we will have national crisis. Instead of address it, we use that to, you know, castigate or downplay or whatever negativity that we can add to for the current administration. And I think that is just bad. There are political issues that we can discuss about corruption. It's something that is in the country every year. Those things, if we make it political, I understand. Because corruption, yes, it affects everybody. And stealing, yes, it affects everybody. But at some level, based on what you're doing in the country, it may not affect you. Okay? However, things like arms dealers coming in your country, illegal arms sales and stuff like that, drug smuggling and stuff like that, those things should not be treated politically. It shouldn't be used as a political yardstick, right? It should not ever should be used because when it happens, where people are wishing for Liberia to be declared a narco state, Your government will not have control of anything. That's the first thing. Okay. Right next door, Mexico, even though it's not declared as a narco state, but because of the drug cartels that are there, they control the government in Mexico. Typical example: I remember 2 or 3 years ago, there was a guy who thought he was very tough on drugs in the drug cartels in Mexico, and he was running to be a city mayor. He ran to be a city mayor in in Mexico City. The guy won the election, but because of his campaign rhetoric that he put out there, he won the election. He was put in office. 3 days later, he and his family were slaughtered in Mexico. You can Google that. It's something that happened. So you don't want that. If the cartels don't agree with what you're doing in your country, you are done. So Liberia cannot be considered a narco state at this time. What we need to be fighting for now as Liberians and home or abroad, political, or whoever you find yourself, is how we can address the issue, how we can expose these people before we can get to before we can become a 10% narco state. The reason I would say 10% because Liberia is not sophisticated. One, your security forces is, in my opinion, I don't want to say if people don't want to hear it, they say you undermining the security, but it's poor. That be real. And that's why when we started, I said we need to address the root cause before we can start talking about these narco state, non-narco state, right? Again, like I said, somebody invited me on a show on Friday and I discussed the same thing. Sheriff, there is no reason why you want a guy to fight drugs, to put his life on the line, right? The reason some people join the United States military and they feel proud to do it is because even if the person go on the battlefront and they die, right, their family is taken care of by the government for the rest of their life. Their children go to school free. Their spouses, under normal condition, will get everything they need for the rest of their life. In Liberia, however, the guy who is expected to fight these people, he is underpaid, he is not taken care of, and even if he dies, that's the end of his story. His family become homeless. How in the world do you expect that person to go and fight against a man who is well established? You can't. So instead of us as Liberians trying to undermine the government by indicating that, oh, because of political reason, I want to declare Liberia a narco state, which I don't want anybody to wish for, because if you do, guess what? The life of Joseph Boakai will be protected. Because if it becomes a narco state, he can get security from the drug law. But we in Sony Wen, Nukutan, Somalia Drive, Red Light, and whatever you can call it, you will not be safe. Because your children or you yourself will be kidnapped by a drug law to push their drugs or to do something in that line. If you don't agree, they kill you. And if they know you got small money, they can kidnap your child and will ask you to pay ransom. That's how narco state operates. So those who wishing for narco state, I can tell you, it will not affect Joseph Boakai. It will not affect Jeremiah Kuhn or other guys at the top. No, they will be safe because they got money and they got connection. Most of you who stand in the street because you see this citizen or ANCN or whatever it's in and trying to declare Liberia a narco state, you will be the main victim. Let us not forget, we fought 14 years of war. You and I were the one that were running up and down. Backup Murphy was not in the country. Amos Sawyer was not in the country. Ellen Jolie Selu was not in the country. Tokwa Nanti, whatever. All those people who were advocating at the time, none of them were in the country. We were the ones suffering. And the same thing will happen if you declare Liberia a narco state.
So I'm glad that you actually said that. Let's talk about the increased violence, right? Let's talk about the violence. Let's talk about the instability. Let's talk about the insecurity. So yeah, all of those things are things that take place when you quote unquote are classified a narco state. And we don't see any of those things taking place in the country right now. I think the government is still holding its own and the government is still making decisions. And there's a debate whether the video that suffers about people saying, will come at whether it is fake, it's a deep fake or real, that is beside the point.
Well, Joseph Boakai's son said it's true.
Yeah. So, but that is beside the point, right? Because the thing here is, if insecurity, narco state they operate with high. Look, what they do, these drug laws, they will come. Their goal is to intimidate and suppress you to the point that you will have no option but to say yes. And when you have a society as such, it makes it so difficult for investors to come into that country. It makes it very hard for people to actually want to establish legitimate businesses because they become targets, like you said. They become
Yeah.
targets. They will go after them with the little money they have. Because one of the things that these drug organizations, these cartels are trying to do, Sapalucia, they understand that when they traffic these drugs, the money is quote unquote dirty. The money is
Yeah.
dirty. And their
Mhm.
goal is to clean the money. And when we're talking about cleaning the money, it is not for them to put it in bucket and wash it, but it is
Yep.
to take that money and put it in legitimate businesses. So it seems as though they are running legitimate organizations.
Yes.
So
And
all
Sherry,
of
let me
those.
just
Go
Sherry,
ahead.
let me
Go
just
ahead.
quick, let me just quick, a quick point to that particular stuff because if you can remember in the mid 1980s to the late almost around 86, 87, 88, there was a bank called Eurobank. Remember that
Hmm.
bank, right? When you claimed Johnson Street Hill?
My man, you making it sound like I should know, but I don't know much about the 80s.
Oh,
I'm
you're not
sorry.
more. Oh, but anyway, okay. So when you claim Johnson Street Hill,
Maybe
right?
maybe I was 6 years old or 7 years old. Who knows?
Yeah, but when you claim Johnson, I was young, although, but when you claim Johnson Street Hill, there was a
Mhm.
bank over there. It's all mirror, all glass building. From
Yes.
what we heard those
That
days
is
was
not organized. Mhm.
The Italian drug law opened that Euro bank right up there. That bank that was used to be right on
But
Johnson
it
Street.
was it was
The
on
building
Johnson
is
Street
still
Crown Hill before you get to Crown Hill
Crown
there.
Hill, right before you go on Crown Hill. When you
Yeah,
claim Johnson
I know the
Street,
building
yeah,
you're talking about. Yes.
yeah, right
Okay.
there, yes. So
Yeah.
that was one of those sponsor or drug mafia stuff.
See?
Just I don't want
And
to
so
buttress you.
no, no, thank you for making that point because that is exactly how they clean their money. They take all of this money from drug organization, drug trafficking, and still no banks come and take that money and say, oh, come and deposit it into our account. Because a
Yeah.
legitimate bank wants to know exactly how this money is coming into your pocket. They want to know
Yep.
exactly what business are you running that gave you millions of dollars that you want to deposit with our bank. Because they too, they are held accountable by monetary standards around the world. So they
Yeah.
would not just take. And so these drug trafficking organizations, what they want to do, they want to clean up that money. And so if you think Liberia is a narco state and you classify it as such, that means all of those Lebanese guys that have the building material store, that have banks operating, that have this, that have cell phone company, those companies, they have high stakes in the narco business
Yeah.
because the organizations will control those.
Yeah.
That's how they clean up their money.
So yeah, Sherry. So let me just give you and let me just correct this because I said Mexico City, but it was not Mexico City. The mayor that was shot. In fact, it happened back to back. I didn't even know about the other guy. There was just one. There was another city mayor in Mexico, Valentine Romero, Miss Mexico. I mean, city mayor of Tumayac Morales. He was just shot 2 weeks. Today's the 20 what? Today's the first. July 22nd, he was just shot. He was just killed. The other guy I was speaking about, that was the guy that was killed 2025, November 1st, 2025. So back to back, two cities in Mexico, their mayor who have come up front against cartels get shot in the street, broad daylight, with no consequences. So be careful what you wish for, Liberians.
Yeah, I will stop short of. I don't think every Liberian. I don't think Liberians in general are just saying that narco state. But I think mostly it's being flaunted around by politicians. The very first person I heard say this was the standard bearer of the CDC. The standard bearer of CDC, he had made a
Yeah,
proclamation that the country is becoming a narco state or the country is a narco state. And every now and then you hear, look, I don't want to politicize this, right? But you always hear from seditious and, oh, that's a narco state. So maybe it's a beautiful word. Maybe it sounds so beautiful to say. Maybe they don't understand the magnitude. And Liberians, one of the things that I know about us, when we go to small university, we learn small book, we want to use as many powerful words to make us seem smart.
smart. Yeah,
And Sometimes we have no idea. It makes us even look stupid. Because if I'm communicating with you, Sapalucia, and I'm using all of these so-called big words, and I'm using jargon that you cannot understand, I look stupid. I mean, you look stupid because your point that you're trying to make is not coming across at all. And
because
so
that's not because that's not communication.
that's not communication. That's why you look stupid when you do
Yeah,
it. And so
yeah,
for people coming around using all of these words and saying, look, this, so narco state has become this politicized, charged politicized word that people want to use in the country to score political points. But
yes.
this issue about drug in the country, it is not a political issue. It should never be seen. It should be seen as a national security issue. And
Yes.
if you have interest in the country, you want to see that tomorrow our future generation. Look, I always say this. Let's say those that are in their 50s, those that are in their 50s and above in Liberia, that generation, yet that generation could be saved because it might be difficult for you to come and tell a 50-year-old man to smoke drug when he have never done it before.
Hmm.
That generation could be saved. And those in our generation right there, down here, we might be safe. But think about the generation, those that came out of the Civil War, those that were born in the Civil War that came out. It is that generation that have been targeted so much. It is that generation that majority today they are sleeping in grave sites. Majority today, by the time you park your car and brush you, they run into you they, with a bucket in their hand and won't wash your car. Majority today, they are the ones calling you our pa, your picking year when they are almost your age group. Majority of them, they are the target group. So we are losing a whole generation in the middle right there, a whole generation. So think about that. People are saying we want young people in leadership, we want young people in government. But if you are destroying those young people with drugs and all of these different things, bro, we have no choice but to just keep having 80 something year old people leading the country. It is not sustainable because you have destroyed a whole group of people that have no chance to actually come and run the country.
And that is sad, you know. And you see, again, people like you just rightly said, people think that when they speak big terms, then it means they're smart. No, you're not. First of all, the word we use in narco, it comes from the word narcotics. And I bet if you start telling some Liberians about narcotics when they know what about narcotics, they will not want to call that country narcotic. But because they have abbreviated, especially during this our guy here, when he started trying to hit or when you're hitting the Venezuelan sea coast and bombing that boat and they brought all this term and made it popular in the last few months, then everybody think it's a cool word. No, he only used it to demean that country so he can use it as a way to penetrate and seize whatever he did there. That is not a cool word. These are words used by people who want to destroy your country. If you don't know that. So narcotic, we when we were growing up, even though we didn't know the book, but we know when we heard narcotic drugs, we knew to stay away from it. I can remember when I was growing up, marijuana was considered a narcotic drug. We didn't even want to hear about it. Now they
Nope.
have made it shut, narco, and
And,
people feel
and,
like,
and we used to even shadow it, we just say opium, opium,
yeah,
opium.
yeah, opium, right? So they're not because we wanted to get away from that big term because we felt like it was bad, very bad when you call it
Ah,
narcotic.
yeah.
When you hear the
Mhm.
narcotic, it sounds very bad. So they put one to opinion to make it sound cool. It's the same thing that is happening right here. It's narcotic stick. You don't want to call your country a narcotic stick because when you do, everybody suffer. Only the few that are enjoying now will continue to enjoy. Why? Because they have money. They can ask this thing guy. Because and let me tell people this, and that's what you don't understand. When you have a narcotic state, they are the one that are going to be protecting your president. Your defense ministry will be nothing. So I want you to think about it when you start calling your country narcotic state. They're going to be providing policing. So if their drug business is good, then you can have peace. If their drug business go bad, then there is war because there will be an influx of guns because they got to protect their wealth. They are
Of
always,
course.
and people need to understand this. Two things the drug cartel has that is very influential. If I'm bringing war, I'm only bringing gun. The drug cartels are bringing two things. They're bringing money and they're bringing drugs.
And both
Two,
are powerful motivators.
exactly, two powerful things that when you get hooked on money, when you get hooked on money, money is addictive. Drug is even worse. Okay, so I don't see why Liberia should even try to think of it instead of trying to fight against it, we politicize it. We should not at all. It doesn't matter what political party, what level of education you have. We should not politicize this thing. Let us wrap our hand around the government. Those who we think we know are part of this, expose them, and how we can remedy the situation. Let us all work together. If this is one thing, we all should come together and fight. I think this is the best
Yeah.
thing to do.
And somebody said, let me interrupt here for a second, and I don't apologize for it because I think 3 weeks ago we did a broadcast here where we were talking about whether Liberia is dependent or independent. I keep going back, and the reason that topic was so on point was because to bring us to this very subject that we are discussing today, which is whether to consider our sweet little country, our sweet Liberia, a narcotic state, which
Yeah.
God forbid it would never be. If that's what politicians want to destroy the country, that would never be the portion of Liberia. And but think about this. Liberia, we know Liberia is so endearing to so many countries. There are so many countries that hold Liberia in very high esteem. You should just watch the Independence Day program that just took place. Forget about your political affiliation. But as they were listing all of these countries that were calling to say, oh, the president of this country, president of this, I was hearing names of countries I've never known existed. I said, wow, Liberia is that known. And no, I mean, it is important for us to say that. You may think about your country as a narcotic state, but there are countries out there that value the contribution of Liberia. If you think I'm lying, ask your maritime director or your maritime commissioner, your maritime chief, which country in the world carry more international flair on the open ocean than Liberia? Think about that. All the other countries running to Liberia and say, let's go get Liberian flag. Let's put it on our ship. Let's go.
Mhm.
The same what Trump do and just go build houses and put his name on it because it brings no notoriety to him. There are countries standing in line to get Liberian flag to carry on the ocean. And
Yeah.
hopefully they're not doing anything illegal, but Liberia is that value to a lot of countries. And if you, because of your political affiliation, you now turn around and you say you want to destroy that and classify Liberia as a narcotic state, then what you have done, think about this. It brings about international isolation and sanction on the country. A lot of the things that Liberia depend on today, even man, whether it's food that we are importing to the country, whether it is gasoline, whether it is people making out, we don't print our own damn money in our country for crying out loud.
But
Think
and
about the
Sherry,
sanction that. Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Sherry. So this is and look, I really want the little man to understand what we're talking about here when you declare your nation as a narcotic state. Let me tell you guys who the Yana boys. Let me tell you guys this. I'm speaking to you guys. I used to be on that side war. When you have a narcotic state in your community, those guys who you calling today disadvantaged youth, those are the people you be paying tax to besides because how do you call it? The city police will kind of give you ticket and you get them money. No, but let's say PNG as an example. If you got one of those guys there who is one of the narcotic state guy or whatever you want to call him, gang leader, he will tell you when your shop should open. He will tell you how much you can pay. You can negotiate with him. If he tells you, hey, and whether you sell or not, the man doesn't care. If you don't pay the man, you can't burn your shop. That's what happened in narcotic states. If you don't pay, the guy come and tell you, say, look, every week, all the stores here, I want you guys to give me 200, 200, 200, 200. He may have sympathy one day and say, okay, you know what, today you don't pay, but tomorrow, make sure you pay. And if you're paying tomorrow, make sure you add 25 or $50 addition. There is no negotiation with narcotic or these guys. So you, the Yana boys, you'll be paying due to him. And if you got some kind of makeshift government there, you'll be paying due to that government as well. So tell me, when you're buying from the Lebanese man or whoever that is paying due to that gang leader, then you go to buy from him. Remember, when you go buy from him, he will have to put his charges that he got to pay to that guy every week on the goods you're going to buy. And then that's what you're going to put on the market to sell. And if you cannot get enough profit, guess what? Just how he paying, that how you pay as well. And then citizen, you who going to purchase these things, if the narcotic leader say, look, today I'm hungry, I don't have this, and he sees you going, you think the guy's jacking your phone. Today you're talking about the jacking your phone and running. No, this time around, the guy will come and give a gun, put a gun at you, give it to me, you take it, you give it to him, he walk and nobody can do anything to him. That's how a narcotic stick operates. You don't want that in Liberia. I know people sitting
It
on
is,
different platforms that you got.
no, it is
Yeah,
a lawless society. It is a
it's a law
lawless
society.
society. They don't play by the law. They don't play by the rules. They control everything. If they tell you, look, do this, and you say, oh, I'm going to call the police, they will laugh in your face. Because
Yeah.
look, I was listening to an interview. Last week. It's a documentary I listened to on Mexico, where this guy, he's in the military, and he was being interviewed, and he said, look, it's sad to say, but most of our military personnel and most of the police officers, most of our governors, most of our leaders, they are on the payroll of these cartel leaders. And
Mhm.
because of that, things don't go far. People are losing their properties. People
Even
are
here.
actually, they will come and take your property,
Yeah.
and nothing you can do for it. And in that particular documentary, they interviewed this lady. She grew, Mexico is the world largest producer of avocado. We get avocados from them. These people, they
Yeah.
have their whole farm of avocado. And basically, what happened, the cartel went. What the cartel did, they killed every man in our family. Every man in the family, the husband, the brother, the cousin, all the men in the family. So just to take over the farm, because they know these women. They allow the family to keep their family house. But the farm, they want the farm because that's clean money. That clean money. They want that. And so all of these things, we should be careful. Liberians, our country is sweet. Let
So
politics not divide us. Let us
yeah,
not be putting these labels out there like it sounds cool, it does not sound cool. Let us not do it because we want to score political points. The country, at
yeah.
the end of the day, when we stay here and we work our butts off, when we do all of these things, people say things. Liberia is the one country that we come to where nobody is judging us by the way we look. That's
And the
our
way we
place.
the way
We
we
got to
speak,
we
the
the
skin
way we
color and all that
speak.
stuff. Yeah.
Nobody is judging us by that. That is our place. That is our one country. If anything, this drug issue should make anybody angry. It should make any of us angry. Because look, some of the things I'm looking at when we talk about international isolation, you already don't have police standing in line to come to your country. We already don't have the. I can't even do on one hand how many flights go to Liberia from different places. Maybe Morocco, we got Brussels, and I don't know who else. I don't know if Kenya goes. I don't know. But we
No.
can't even count
So
on one hand how many airlines go to the country. And then when you start to label yourself a narco state, you think Brussels want to go to your country? No. So the people that stay here who want to come to that country at the end of the day to say, let me just go and relax, let me go enjoy Christmas, let me go enjoy 26, those people are stuck. That's international isolation. That's what we're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. But let's see if we can address your Bagolo question. Is that something someone have control over? If if we do not have the means to prevent it from happening, we do have control over this. And I can tell you again, like I when I appear on that guy show, I gave a simple way that we can do it. It's not that the money is not in Liberia to do it. We do have the money to do it. The fact that you're paying somebody, like I was reading one of these things. Some I think deputy minister pay him $5,000 a month. The fact that you're paying somebody $5,000 a month, you should be paying the guy that is standing at the border at least the minimum $1,500 because he's on the front line. You can't be paying somebody 5,000 in the same ministry, then you paying the other guy $150. What sense does that make? So you want to be the mayor whole year's salary? His whole year's salary is less than the man 1 month salary. And those people who they give $5,000 to get car assigned to them, they got everything assigned to them. So yes,
They get gas card. They get
yes,
gas a
they get
card
gas,
for
they
fuel.
get cell phone, they get pay for their scratch card. So yes, it is something that we have control over. Redirect your resources to your security. Again, and I would state just like I stated on our show, on our platform, that Liberia, for whatever reason, we do not see a crisis, address it, and then prepare for the future. You would think a country that went through 14 years of war, immediately after coming from that war, the first thing you build is a defense. Today, the Guinean border, the Liberia Guinean border, still occupied by Guinean soldiers. People say they're using diplomatic. I don't know what diplomatic stuff. I don't want to use the language I supposed to use, but I don't see any diplomatic about it. Now, we had Ebola, a healthcare crisis. We got infill. Instead of we investing money in infill, every good person that comes there, we push them out and put corrupt people there. Okay, we had COVID, the same thing. Now we got the drug issue. The drug issue did not start anytime just yesterday. No, it started from Ellen Johnson's lifetime. We started hearing about drugs in the country. I know I heard about 50,000 before or $50 million. We heard about 100,000, $100 million, and so forth. And today we're talking about $300+ million. So you saw the problem, you know what the problem is, you know the root cause, but you don't care about the root cause. You want to solve it. And that's why some of our job, for me, my job, what I do, that's the principle we use. Laboratory science believes in prevention. That is why before you get sick, we'll call you to the lab and say, hey, come here, let me test your blood. When I identify what you have, I'll say, hey, my man, there's a high chance you're going to get diabetes. This is what you need to do to prevent that. That's the principle. You identify the problem, address the root cause, and then you will fight. To fight drugs, yes, it is within our control. We need to allocate money. Take some of the money from all the scratch card, that money. Redirect that money. Those guys can afford from their own salary, they can afford scratch card. They can afford gas lift. They're not traveling from Minnesota to Texas. No, they travel right within Monrovia. So they can buy their own gas from the 5,000 they got.
Go ahead. So finish your point.
These people that are getting way underpaid, you don't give them the incentive that you give the other people that you're paying huge money to. So in order for us to prevent these things, that's what you need to do. Have a good security system, well-paid security guys, and have benefit for them so that when they say, okay, when something happens to me tomorrow, that man knows there's a safety net for his children and his family. That's mean retirement plan, social security plan, and not the narco take the poor money and go eat it. And then when the something happens, my father died, we didn't get insurance, his pension money, he's been paying all these years. No, a guarantee. That's how you solve those problems. So yes, to answer your question, it is controllable, it is within our control, and it is preventable.
Yeah, so I want to start at the end of the question there for Mr. Yakpawolo. I want to start the question: if we do not have the means to prevent it from happening. Actually, that's where I want to start. We do have the means to prevent it from happening, and that means it ties right back into what you are saying, Mr. Sapolus here, paying people correctly. I always use this story. I think I've used it on this platform once. I was coming from Marshall. I just wanted to pick up my dry fish coming from Marshall because driving, there's a little checkpoint there before you get into the maritime, get to the maritime office there. We pick up two guys. Picked up this guy. He got in the car with us, two of the immigration officers. They got in the car with us. Now I would just, I love conversing with people. So I asked the guy, I say, how's the hustle? How things going? How things happening? How's the pay? How's the salary? How's everything? And then the guy told me, one of the security officer, he told me, he said, my brother, ain't you see me asking you for a ride for you to drop me off to the town I'm going to my house? He said, you see me asking you for a ride? I said, yes. He said, look, you think if I was you think it make me as a man, it made me feel good to stand in front of you and say, oh, can you please drop me off here, give me a lift? He said, no, I don't want to do that. But right now I don't have money in my pocket to even pay my way to get to my house. That's why I'm asking you. So he said, and the work I'm doing now, if somebody come to me today and that person is poor, the man, even say big money. The man said, the man give me an envelope, it get $1,000 in it. You think I will say no? Let me check your bag. The man said, I will not say no. He said that to me. I was in the car, I said, man, this is scary stuff. So somebody say it all goes by. We can prevent that by making sure that the people, my man, we can say so and say so. But look, the people who protect the president, the people who drive the president, the people who fly the presidents around when they're going places, Those people, they should be some of the highest well paid. And in America, they are well taken care of, well paid.
Yeah.
Because that man, that man putting his life on the line for you. So our border security should be very strengthened. I keep hearing senators saying, "Oh, our borders is so porous. Our border is so porous." We knew this since we were children. What are we doing to stop that from being porous? We can build it. We are not saying build a wall like our president here is calling for, but you can make it strong enough by putting strong men, strong women at the border and build it, make it secure, so people understand that another nation is here.
Yeah.
But if you don't do it, if you don't do so, then it will continue to be porous, and people will just come and give you $1,000 and pass without goods. You're not even checking, and so that leads me to Moriba's question here. Moriba's question, yeah, I want
Yeah,
to go
Professor,
ahead.
can I just chime in quick before you go to Moriba's question? I think Moriba made a great point, but I just wanted to say something, not to be on the negative side, but when I said, do we have the means to prevent this, right, from happening? We currently do not have the means. Will you guys agree with me? We
No,
currently
We do have the
okay.
means. I don't agree with you. We have
No,
the
no,
means.
Sabalo said, if we do have the means, like the statement that Sherry just made, we have people that are working in these key positions that are not being paid, right? So if those people are not being paid, that's basically saying we do not have the means because we're not paying those people adequately. So those guys are the key people that are holding the security of Liberia in their hand. And we're not paying them. We're not paying them correctly. Or we let's say, let me rephrase it. We have the means, but we're not implementing it correctly. We're not paying these people correctly. So they will be basically the key to make Liberia eventually a narco state if these guys intend to take over Liberia. They have the money, like you said, Sapulosia. They have the money to pay our border security guys off. They have the money to do whatever they want to do. They have the money to buy 1,000 acres of land in Liberia, and nobody will stop them. You understand? So we don't check all these things when somebody come in, and once the money come, everybody more open to chop. They don't even care where that money coming from. So what I'm saying is, in a nutshell, every Liberian at every level have to be so patriotic enough that even if I'm working at the border and I'm making $5, I have to be able to close my eye to that envelope when they come in and say, I got to check your bag. Or else, because you're saying we have the means now, so I'm assuming that people are being paid correctly or anything, but people are not taken care of, like you guys stated it. People are not taken care of the way they're supposed to be taken care of. So that opens the floodgate for all these things to happen. That was the nature of my question, because the
No, let
system
me let you
in
address it
place
because I still want to go
currently,
to another question. I'll let you address it.
yeah,
Yeah. So
the system in place currently is opening the doors for such a thing to happen. We can sit here and say, oh, we have the means, but currently, from the way the system is right now, we cannot prevent something like this from happening if we don't take the actions now. That's why I want to say, I'll go back in the
Let
background.
me address it, but
yeah.
let me
So
just say something real
let me
quick.
just quickly respond to Steve.
Steve,
Right?
come back. Don't go to
Yeah.
the
Steve,
back.
come
Steve,
back.
come
Come
back.
back. Come back on
Come back.
Steve. Let me just
Don't
quickly.
hit
Let
him
me,
wrong.
let me just quickly. Let me just quickly address that. Last year, the Liberian budget was $860 something million. Okay, if you were serious for addressing the border issue, you made it 1.2 billion. That extra money should have gone all to security if you were serious, because the government have been running. According to them, the government ran surplus last year. According to Gafuan, out of
Okay.
$860 million, the government ran surplus. So if the government ran surplus and you got a crisis that it is not new today, you could have redirected that $200+ million straight into security. So there is money, there is resources, but unfortunately, they take the same money and eat it and don't put it to where it's supposed to be. So yeah, we got the means, we had the fund to do it, but we choose not to use it for the purpose. So we do have the means.
All right.
Go
And
ahead,
so,
Thank you.
Sherry.
Steve, I'm gonna point on that is I know you want to go having the means and not implementing it correctly. Two different things.
True.
We have the manpower. When you look in Liberia right now, of all the security forces, maybe NSA will still be top, but the military, the Liberian military is respected among the police and all these stuff. AFL is respected. When you're having a land dispute, you say, "I'll call the police." The people laugh at you. But when they see the man in the uniform, the military guy, everybody shake up. And I'm saying we have the needs, we have the people, we have the capability, we have people who want to serve. Stephen, imagine when you and myself were in Liberia, you went to MC, my brother. I went to SDA. I had one of my teachers that lived in way in Bannersville, I think Bannersville, Gunnersville, one of those ville. And that teacher, they were not making much, but they came to school every day. You and myself will know people who every day they wear that coat suit. As hard as it will be, they wear that coat suit, they stand in, they own bike, they go into some kind of school. You know, they had 2, 3 schools that they teach it. Somebody they enter our classroom, they tire. They have the capability, but what they don't have is I can only depend on MC job to sustain my family. So those teachers are great teachers. You must have got some of the best education. By the way, you know, your president for the MC, he's one of our board members on our occasion, Mr. I'm forgetting his name now.
Joshua.
Joshua, yeah. Joshua is going to be part of our occasion this coming August. And so basically, when you look at all of that, great education you guys have, we have. But our teachers were struggling, Steve, to come in. We had the capability, we had it. And the same way, we have the way to take care of this stuff, but we're just not doing it correctly. We're not paying the resources. Yeah, it's the richest country in America. I mean, in the world, in America. When this man came to power, what did this man do? The man keep putting money in security. He keep putting money in security at the border. You know that.
So for a minute, guys, if I would rephrase it for a minute, you guys will agree with me that we have the means, but we are ignoring it. We are not implementing it, and due to that, our country can eventually, if Liberians do not tend to be patriotic, eventually become a narco state.
So you keep using a word. You keep using a word. You see, Sherry, let me address. They can't keep using this word patriotic. You see, in order for you, patriotic is not simply measured by. Look, I cannot be home. My children home they're not safe. They telling me shit. I should be patriotic at the border.
No, but Sapolosa, that's all we're asking the people to do. That's all we're asking them to do because we have the money. We're not paying them. So,
okay, well, Sherry, I mean, so you cannot be dishonest to people. Let's be realistic. I was just checking. You know how much a 4-star general makes in Liberia when we have it? $1,100 US. A 4-star general. Do you know how much they make in the United States? That's $1 million a year. Look, we shouldn't be joking with life. This is the person that keep you security. You take 15,000 now, you give it an uneducated guy sitting and don't work. He barely works. He barely works 20 hours a week, and you give him 15,000 a month. And then you want to insult somebody who's going to stand and put his life on the line at the border because you want him to be patriotic. Why not these people who getting that money be patriotic and go to the front? I don't want to insult someone like you and tell them you should be patriotic because you want to put your life on the line when your children are going to school. I beg you, don't say you insult.
So Sapolosa, you agreeing with me, right? You agreeing with me, right? Sapolosa, the guys that need to be paid well are not being paid well. And they are the ones that hold the key to our security. They are not being paid well. So if these guys are not being paid well, and the people who are asking them to be patriotic as riding the big car and doing all these things, when I come when me Dr. Positive decide to be a cartel, and I walk to that border and say, hey, my man, listen, I got $2,000 for you here. Take this and let me pass. You think that guy at the border who haven't fed his family, who haven't sent his children to school, you think he will sit down there and say, "Oh, that apostle, a good citizen, so I will let you to, I will hold your container"? No, that guy will let me pass. So that's what I'm saying. We have to, at some point.
I know. I understand, but you say they should be patriotic. That's why.
I'm just following what you guys are saying. I'm saying we cannot keep asking people to be patriotic.
Okay, yeah.
We cannot keep asking people to be patriotic and do not pay them for what they are worth. That's what that question was for. We have to pay people for what they are worth.
Yeah,
we have to pay people that are in key places. We have to, even our police have to be paid well, because if somebody comes to the board, the police, the immigration officer, or how you call it, the custom border, the custom officer, all of them have to be paid well. Sapolosia. Until we do that, until we do that, we are at the verge of this thing happening. Sorry to say, but we are at the verge. If we don't take care of that, let's go to Maria's question. I hope we clear on this. But it's
no. I thought you were asking them to be patriotic to receive $100.
I think at the end of the day,
that's
we
how
all
you're gonna ride up.
the same thing. At the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We do not want our country. I don't even want anybody to talk to me and say, Liberia is not part of the state. I don't even want you. Don't want to hear it. You myself argue because you have no idea what that means. You don't understand the ramification of what that means to Liberia and what it costs the people of Liberia and the economic impact to the people and everybody else. The short life experience. We already got short life to live expectancy in the country. Then you bring you label a narco and you open the door for them. 14, 30, you wake up every morning. You think you're seeing death now? You wake up every morning and just see something happening in the country openly, terrorizing people. We don't want that.
Sharif,
so I don't like that at all. I don't want to even think that we could get there because we will not get there.
Sherry, I know we are Christians. We are Christian. We can believe how we want to believe, but Mexico is more developed than Liberia. Would you agree?
I agree.
Okay, Mexico right now is in a state of anarchy where they cannot control their drug cartels. What happened? Sure. What made that happen? What made that happen?
Because they infiltrated the government and they have taken over the entire government. Okay, and
thank you.
Why we're talking about this show today.
Yeah, thank you. So Liberia is exhibiting some of the symptoms of the same thing that made Mexico to go to that. Today, did you hear Yakpawulo name when they were arresting people for drug or when they were allegedly arresting people or calling people name? Did you hear Yakpawulo? The guy that pushing the whip out. Did you hear a name? Top government officials are the ones that are being named in this thing, right?
Well, I don't know about top government officials here, but I know there are people in leadership who until the top government official will find out.
The deputy director at the airport, he's a government official, right? I would consider him a top government official, right?
But that's not the one that government Gregory talk about.
Sherry, let's agree for argument's sake, right? But listen, people that are being called is not Sapolosia and myself who are the one board. They're not calling our name in our thing. They didn't say they arrested Yakpawulo because Yakpawulo is picking and pushing Wiba, but he's doing something on the background. The people named, they're calling the deputy director for security at the airport. That's something crucial. So the people in top security, if they are already giving in, imagine Yakpawulo who don't have money to feed your family. So that's what I'm saying. We have to.
But I disagree with you. I'm not agreeing with you. I disagree with you.
No, I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm not asking you to agree with me.
You said we should agree.
We got people in jail for using.
We got people
in jail who are victims to drugs. They are in jail. The very boy talking about, the guy on the Yana boy talking about, these are people who when they catch with weed, they put it in jail.
But
they are not the one that facilitating these drugs.
But apart from that, Mr. Sabulisha, apart from that, and Mr. Pastor, apart from
the whistleblowers
that just got arrested. There are people that just got arrested that are the everyday people that you and myself talking about.
Whistleblower.
At that airport, you go and you arrest somebody who is a scanner, who is the person who saw the thing and
who exposed the thing in jail.
And you could arrest the person. That everyday people there. What are you talking about? That are top government official there?
No, but again, they are being arrested for the wrong purpose. Though they are not being arrested as the people that are the perpetrator or are the key people that are making this happen. You just said a whistle.
They're not top government official.
Again, Sharif, I know you say you're not running for a position, but the way you're signing a lot, you're trying to run for some position here.
No, Sharif has the right to run for position.
I never ruled it out. I never ruled it out.
Yeah, but listen, Sharif, let's get to our audience question. But Sharif, I beg you, look at it from a Liberian patriotic perspective, right? When will we as a country decide to pay people for what they are worth? One. And then when will we have a system in place that is ethical enough that when when we have people that need to be put in jail, when we have people that need to be how you call it, arrested for the purpose for which the crime for which they committed stuff, for them to be put in jail. When will we have those people taking held accountable? Let me find my term. Held accountable. When will we have those people accountable? Held accountable. The thing here is, Sharif, you're saying they're arresting the whistleblower, they're arresting the little guy that saw something and decided to complain. If we are doing that as a country, Sharif, are we ready? Are we really ready to prevent something this big from happening?
You know, I mean, so this is what I would say. This is what I would say, brother. This is what I would say, Steve. We all agree here that look, the government, and I think, look, our discussion here is not for the everyday Liberian people. It's for the government. Whoever one government person that hear it, I hope it is Joseph Waka. It is for the government to take action and not just stop to say, oh, we arrested those few people, so we okay. No, go deeper. Because we want to hear those people that Gregory Coleman said, the top government official. I know he said very, very senior government official. We want to find those senior government officials, whether it was in this administration or in the last administration. We want those people, let them come and let's embarrass them, let's put them out. Because when we do so, then now, don't be surprised, Steve. And this I'm telling you, it sounds horrible. I gotta tell you this. Those people today, let's say you put Sharif name out there. Oh, Sharif is the deputy minister for the port, the whatever. I don't even know that position. He's the deputy, and they put me out there, and the government ship me, and they take all that they cartel narcotics from me, and they destroy it. The cartel will be angry. They come after me. They kill me. Then they destroy because they want the money.
Yeah,
They kill me. You know what? I've just lost my life. It will send a signal to other people. I don't want to be part of that. And that is why it just brought me back to Moriba's question. And I know it sounds bad. I don't want to be like King David in the Bible, where Samuel comes to him and Samuel said, "Oh, King, the man got one woman, and the other man got 3 sheep, and you go and take the man." And then David said that man should be put to death. I'm not trying to put my own death sentence out there. But what I'm trying to say, Moriba is asking this question: should the commander-in-chief declare war on drugs as an enforcement tool, or would this be unethical? Where do we go from here? If we cannot say it is a narco state or international assistance, I like the question. And the reason I like the question, it is multiple questions in there, multiple layers we can unfold. I know our time is out. But yes, the government should actually declare war on drugs. And by war, we're not saying go and do weapons. The great United States that we live in here during the Nixon time, during the Clinton time, the 90s, there were war declared on drugs in this country. There was war declared, and even today, there is still war being declared on drugs. Our president right now, he took an extra step and he started bombing people's ship. No, we're not saying Liberia should do so. But declare it and make it a national issue. Let people know, be very serious, and look at those top government officials who are involved and get them out. Get them out, shame them, and fire them. Don't repeat them in government. Get rid of them. That's the way you declare war on drugs, to show that you're serious about this. The second part of the question is it unethical? No, it is not unethical. It is actually ethical for you to get rid of those bad apples in government, to secure your administration, to leave a good legacy. So it's not unethical. Where do we go from here? We go by actually taking action and pay people who needs to secure our borders and make, not from other foreigners. Don't secure the borders. Say Sierra Leoneans can't come here. My parents came from Sierra Leone, came to Liberia. That's how I was born in Liberia. Don't stop immigrants from coming through. Our constitution talks as long as you are of Negro descent, don't stop us. We'll come. So I'm not saying closer to people coming to the country with legitimate goals and business idea or hustle, like my parents did to Liberia, but closer to illegal drugs, closer to people who want to come and just incur on your national sovereignty. Close that door to them. And then, and he's asked the last part of Mariba question. He's saying, since we cannot say narco state or international assistance, I'm not saying you cannot say international assistance. Liberia has always depended on other countries, especially the United States, to help them. That is why when USAID left, they were scrambling to go back to the national budget because they had already included something in there that was going to be covered by USAID. They were scrambling to fill that gap. You don't do that. Don't depend on handout to pay your bill. When you Stephen, you depend on me and say, oh, Sherry say you give me $250 per month, and you pull that as part of your plan to pay your mortgage, you'll die.
Sherry, please don't include me in that thing because you and Maruba was saying like bro, it's an independent state, so you don't even come to that one.
It is an independent state. No, it is an independent state.
Yes, don't try that. Don't try that.
Let me
today I see
like more other all countries around the world does not make it a dependent state. That's the argument we made that time.
Yeah, so as we go to interdependent state and dependent state are two different things. Okay, other countries are interdependent. Liberia, we are dependent. But anyway, let me go from Moluba. Let me take back to the beginning. International assistance, yes, is needed because we don't have the sophistication in Liberia. But I don't see why we should always rely on foreign countries when we got Liberians who are on the international scene doing some of the same job that can come down to Liberia under the right circumstances to serve you and do the job for you. Okay, so can we address this? According to his question, where do we go from here? Well, I think Sherry already kind of addressed it, but this is some of the things we need to do. Let us properly vet these people that are coming with investment, because that's how these things happen. When you read a story, they said these guys were coming as local, how do you call it, transporters, and then later on they said they want to invest in agriculture, and then before we know it, they opened Rossville. And I know that particular area because I used to go through that area. They opened Rossville place, and somebody came from there recently. A lady I was speaking to last night, she came from our community. She told me, she said, if you see Rossville, the place has been built. She didn't know what they were doing there. She was just telling me how they are upscale this area where boats can come in and stuff, but she didn't know that that's what the people were doing there, and that's why they built it that way, right? So we have to vet these people that are coming to our country and know where they're coming from with the so-called businesses they come to our country with. That's one of the ways to look at it. Okay, and our concession agreement that we're signing, our lawmakers, these people, I will always hold them responsible for most of the things that happen in Liberia because they are the one that represent you, Weeder, directly. These are the people you put in the government so that they can get paid $15,000 and all the other bonuses to speak for you and to look after your security, to look after everything you do. So when they're signing this concession agreement, let them do their proper vetting to make sure that this concession agreement will benefit you, right? And they should be making laws. When they look at that budget, they should put money in the budget that will benefit the guy that is standing at the border to secure your border, to defend your land against foreign invaders. That's what they're supposed to be doing, the lawmakers. So how do we get there? It is by that. Now, shoot on sight, you can't do that. Okay, it will be unethical to shoot on sight because then you're declaring a different kind of war on your citizen. You might shoot the wrong person. And let me tell you this, it happened in Mexico. When those guys, when they are in fact, they are better armed than the government in Mexico. Okay, yeah. Because they got money, they got influence, they got power, they got everything. So, but we don't want to put guns in our people's hands who don't know who to shoot. Just, I found watching a video where a police guy in the street is trying to get a license. Show me a license. He telling the man he must take the man license from him. So you got to also train people. Okay, training in the military or in the security sector is imperative, and it must be done regularly. Now, when I enter, I get trained, and that's it. No, you should be trained every 3 months. You got 3-month courses, 6-month courses, and a year annual courses. We do that in the military all the time. So training must be part of it. And then to cap it off is the incentive. You must properly and well pay these people so that the man, before he thinks about losing his police job, he will think about what in his bank account, how his children living better life and stuff like that, because that's what keeps a man up every night. I sitting here, and most of us sitting here, in fact, all of us sitting here, We who got little ones, we don't think about today. We think about that tomorrow. What will become of them? If I know my child is taken care of, I will do whatever I can do to defend my country. But I'm not going to be patriotic on $150 and I got to walk to go to work every day with no incentive. That is an insult to patriotism. So, Mr.
Stephen,
Wheeler, that's how I answer your question.
Stephen, I know it's 2:16. Can you give us 2 more minutes, please?
No,
If
no,
that,
sure. I
if
mean,
it,
I gotta chime into Mariva question too.
okay,
Mariva
yeah, go
said,
and chime in. I really want
please.
us to come to River says pro
Thank you to my
question.
sister. She
Go ahead.
said time for the show to be over. She bring me a drink. Let me taste it first.
Okay,
Anyway,
then let me
hold on. Let me go in a moment. Don't call me up, please.
Okay, hurry up.
Yeah, so Mariba, I think I would turn this whole thing around. For every government official, anybody to you say, where do we go from here? We coming to the end of this show. Where do we go from here? Before anybody run for office or while they are in office, they should be mandated to do ethical training. Ethics 101, 102, 103 to 100. All Liberian government officials, public servants should be mandated to do ethic training because the moral value of our country is depleting, is declining. People don't respect the position they are in. People don't see value in why they got those positions. People don't kind of say, all right, I'm a Liberian. We're here to take our country to the next level. Where is that next level? How can we make that happen? We will do that, and we'll do everything we can to make that happen. But everybody there for themselves. How can I fill my own pocket? And that's how somebody in a high position will allow somebody to come and say, I'm coming here to invest. Let 1 million here, let $1,000 here, take it and close bound out to anything else I'm doing. So if we start in mandating our government official to go through monthly, even I will say weekly, they have to show that 1 hour of ethical training every week, and we have to have them videotape watching that ethic video. You understand? That's how we can face this problem in Liberia. So I will just stop on there. I see the minutes, smiling. Let them handle it.
You may really want babysit the children.
No, they have to, Sherry. How do we face this, man? How do we face it? Imagine there's somebody that having.
You say you close already, but man, that's legit, man. Stuff.
Yeah, after you're finished.
River says
no. I'm going to River says pro. River says pro question is reversing everything we talked about. River says pro question here is if the day is Liberia, if they are the government, if they declare war on drugs, which I agree they should, they are admitting that we got a drug crisis and a narco state. You cannot combine the two. That's my problem. We can agree that if we declare war on drugs, then we have a drug crisis. But that does not equate to making us a narco state. Those two don't add up. River says, I would disagree. Because I will go back again to history. Sabalusia, no. When we were in high school, I ran away from science, chemistry and physics. I wanted to do history and literature. That's what I did. And so I always look at history. When you go way back to 1971, Nixon was still president in America. Nixon was the one who started with this war on drugs. He declared, and he said something. Maybe I'm quoting it wrong, but he said drugs is public enemy #1 in America. And he declared war on drugs. After Nixon, all the other presidents that came, they started following. 1986, United States of America came about. They said, hey, we are going to go and put the Anti-Drug Abuse Act into place. 1986. They put that drug, and basically that act, it just simply meant there is a set number of years that anybody with drug offenses can go to jail. And you saw in the 90s, they were racking them up, whether it was New York, whether they were just putting people in jail, racking them up. You have small, they rack you up. America did this whole thing since the 70s. They've been declaring war on drugs. Have they ever declared themselves a narco state? The answer is no. And don't even tell America that you are a narco state. They will pack your bag and send you by where you're coming from. So what I'm saying here, Roses Pro, because we have a drug crisis, it does not equate to us having a narco state. Don't consider Liberia a narco state because we are not there and we will not get there by the grace of God. That's my point, Sapalusia.
Yeah, but you see, and that's what we said from the beginning, right? That we should not make this a political topic or political jab. Because I'll be honest with you, I think because the sedition, God have spoken, everybody want to follow suit. And I want Liberians to be of people, especially we the mature people. Let us be independent thinkers. Your leaders cannot determine what is good for you. They might be in position to provide the opportunity for you, but you personally, what makes you successful is based on your individual independent thinking and independent mindset. Just because I love my leader or I like my, I don't love my leader. By the way, I always tell people, do not love your leader. Love your family, love your spouses, and love those people. Hold your leaders accountable. That's what they are there for. Just because George Weah says, first of all, I don't know why some people even follow the guy saying. Just because George Weah says something does not mean it's right. Let us not forget, George Weah government was the one that kind of built the foundation for so many things that are happening. We shouldn't forget that. He was the one that arrested 100,000 drugs, $100 million drugs. And then the people walk free. In fact, they gave them a path to leave the country. We shouldn't forget that.
Catch and release.
Yeah, catch and release. So you guys shouldn't come pretend like Joe we are here is clean from the drug. We got remember, in fact, seditions. I will save that video. But sedition marched the street and saying they wanted Kush. We want Kush. They were there, women in their blue and white, marching in the street when George Weah was president. When they said they wanted Kush. I didn't hear the sedition saying that was wrong. And we know what Kush was doing in Liberia at the time. We know. So I keep saying Liberians need to step outside of the political realm right now and look at a drug crisis that we have. Liberia is not a narcotic state, and Liberia should not even try to perpetuate that they want to be a narcotic state, because it will, you, Riverside Pro, and every other people who support CDC ideology, whether they got one or not, but your fanatics will not be able to go to Liberia. You will not be. Unless maybe you want to stay in the United States. But don't forget, and let me put that point out there, maybe a jab. Donald Trump just had an internship at his White House. If you look at that picture, 70 people. Now one of them is of any other race besides pure Caucasian. And I keep telling people are not paying attention. They think what Donald Trump started is something that's going away. No, and it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. The Caucasians have felt that they have been diminishing, and they got to come back. So it doesn't matter who go in that White House. You better have one plan, a plan B, that if America doesn't work, I can drop home. Other than that, you all sit there and think, when you make Liberia, Narco stay here will get people to go. You go to Ghana and you see how the Ghanaian will treat you. You go to Guinea and you see how the Guinean will treat you. If the world did not teach us sense, don't try. Let us work together and fix Liberia. You'll make everything political. And then it comes to RT8. And let's see what will happen.
Stephen, make your point and let's wrap it up.
Yeah, so Rasa Pro, thank you for that comment, and I believe I would let us follow through on what these guys stated. Is this is non-political. We are trying to fight for a Liberia that is better for all of us. So it behooves our politicians and all citizens to step up today and say no to drugs. Not even just saying, oh, because this is not my business and my children are not being impacted by this, so I will not put my foot inside. No, all of us have to stand up and say we're going to fight this thing to the last power in our hand until this thing is out of our country. Because imagine the little one that is happening. Our children are standing on the streets as zombies, and we can't do anything about that. So right now, we as citizens of Liberia, we have to stand up and do everything, push our politicians to do the right thing for our country. And that's what I'm saying. We need to, if we're fighting a war on drugs, right, we need to do everything we can so that people in positions can know that the mistake they make, the little mistake they made to accept that $1 million or even that $20,000 from somebody could impact our next generation. And that person should be put in jail. Their property should be seized. They should be penalized to the maximum level of the law in Liberia. Because once we punish people and make them, I know our brothers say we must shoot them on site. No, we shouldn't shoot them on site. Let's punish them while they are living. Let them be suffering so that people can see that when you mess with drug in Liberia as a politician, you lose everything that you have worked for and you will get punished and you'll not even get a government position again ever in your life. You understand? But the sad thing we see is somebody get fired from one position, then the next government come, they get to another position, and that needs to stop. If somebody get arrested for something like drug, that person should not be allowed to hold any more government position. That's how we fight this war against drug. I will yield my time to the rest of the panelists. Thank you.
Stephen, I think this is the first time, honestly, this is the first time I clap for you because you said something that already refreshed my memory. When you talk
God, thank you. Thank you, Jesus.
No, seriously, I got to give you credit. When you talk about let's take that goods, that properties, sell it, and fight drugs, that's exactly what America is doing, my brother. All this war on drugs. When they confiscate these big pharmaceutical companies, when America prosecute them, and they get money, you know what they do with that money? They put it right back into my era, mental health and all of the
things. Get paid. How should we get paid?
Yeah. I can get my own bread on my table. They put it right back. They say, look, y'all go and fight, y'all go fight drugs, y'all go fight mental health. And look, we discussed something here. I mean, if it was not intended, but it just happened that way. For me, I'm in our space. I see the effect of drug on people. And another thing that happened, Sapalusa is in the military. He was in the military space, but he's still there, even though he retired. So the man knew, that's why he got so. It's the first time I see Sapalusa zero hat when he's talking about people at the border not getting paid, because that's his area. He knows the sacrifice it covered. So yeah, what you saying, Steve, is absolutely correct. Clap for you, because money from this cartel, money from these drug laws should actually be used. Let us go. Darius DeLeon got a center in Liberia. Jojo got a center in Liberia. Let's use those centers. Let's clean these kids up. Let's prepare them for the classroom. Let's get them back to productivity. Some of that money from these cartels, we can use it to actually rehabilitate our young people. Since the government doesn't want to do it, let's take that money and rehabilitate.
Or even pay our border agents too.
There are a lot of places that money can be used. There are a lot of places. But we don't want to depend on that money again. All we don't want the drugs in the country. Do not use our country as a hub, because look, when that label sticks, it stigmatizes the country, and we don't want that.
Sherry, before we end the show,
that's my end.
Before we end the show, I said something here. You guys laugh about it, but do you guys really think that our government officials should be going through ethical training so that they can know the value of the work that they are doing, like to prevent corruption? The corruption is one of the things that leads to some of these things happening, right? It's just taking bribe, and people can have their way. So if you are corrupt, you don't care for the impact of the decisions you make. So do you guys believe that every Liberian government officials, including the president, should go through ethical training so that they can now start caring for their people? You said no?
Somebody said, I'm tired talking, so I've got to make my point so I can leave over here.
Yeah, so let me tell you.
No, let me finish my point and now walk on, and you guys can do the thing.
No, but we need to talk. I told you after the show, we got to talk.
Okay. I said no. Steve, I said no. The reason I said no, any responsible leadership, nobody have to tell you what ethics and what those kind of things. No, I'm making my point. Let me say my point.
I'm listening. I'm just making my face.
Yeah, that's okay. At my job, at your job, we at maybe I don't know much what's happening at your job. Maybe at your job, we do something called continuing education, right? You always catching up on the latest trend that's happening in your field. They're updating you. Hey, Stephen, there's a new update coming for this software. So you're always getting updated. That's training that you're going through. But one thing as a leader at my job, one thing my employer don't teach me is time management, and how to lead my team, and how to make wise decisions when it comes to department budget, and also how to be ethical, not to do anything crazy. You know why they don't teach me that? They expect that will be it's expected of me. And when I violate, if I go and take kickback from my position, which is unethical, if I take that kickback, the consequences. I'm out of job, I'm fired, and basically because I work with other organizations that work directly with the state and Medicare, definitely my name going to database, I can no longer get job in that field. That right there, it makes me to understand, don't mess up, my son. Don't let 20,000 for your eye. Don't do anything stupid. That is how you learn it. Nobody will teach you that. But when you make a mistake, there's a consequence. And that is why I said no. I am not in classroom to teach somebody with a master's degree. We make you a minister and then say take ethics training. I am not in a position for that. You will
Okay.
know when you mess up, we're getting you out of there and we're bringing somebody else.
So from my end, what we have in my company, besides our continuing education for our fields, we do have leadership training that we do every year. We do at least, and I got a bunch of leadership books that we do, and so we do leadership training every. In fact, every month I have one I have to do, and they give this book. So and it's very good. It's the way, especially if you lead people, right? Because I lead a group of people, so I have to know how to deal with staff. I had to know but they're not teaching me budgeting and all that stuff, but leadership, because we adopted a model in the last 5 years at Harris Health. It's called it leading with love. So leading with love, as a leader, you have to lead your people, not based on your belief, not based on your thinking, on the way your people behind you think. So you got to start. That's how we go through that leadership training. And to tap that off, so I would suggest that in Liberia, we do teach leadership in Liberia because people do not know how to lead. And that's in fact, in the military too, when I was in the military, we also did a lot of leadership training. That's why most people that come out of the military, they have the basic for leadership, right? Because you are trained to be a leader. And thank God for me, the job that I have, where I am now, we do leadership training too. And just to tap that off, I think you, Steve, you know, Sis If1. I
Mm-hmm.
developed a leadership curriculum for Cottington University. Just, in fact, the school is opening this year. I developed a curriculum for the Leadership Institute at Cottington University that Miss If1 is now will soon be presenting in Liberia. So yes, we do need leadership training for all government officials in Liberia down, and that is something that is very needed. And if you do speak to people in Liberia, and I think the president of Cottington University endorsed it, and some people in the legislature endorse it too. So yes, we do need leadership training in Liberia, and ethics is part of that as well.
And I think I can make that mandatory for Liberia, Shara said, because yeah,
But you got your teacher right here because I do leadership training.
yeah, no, yeah, thank
So
you.
you
I
pay
think
me. I want to go to that one free. You pay me.
no problem, no problem. You need a teacher, but no, let me.
No, 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 they don't need to teach me. They don't need to
No,
teach me because the thing
let me
is,
talk, man.
you know what is expected of me.
My
You
man,
who say you want leadership training, you are the one who sometimes, you know, I don't want to go there. Make it talk. For example, you said myself will run the show more than you. Example, you said myself run the show more than you.
My man,
So
listen, sir, my man. Don't let not go in in public here, but when I'm not on the show, I'm behind the scene doing things for you. So don't even start acting. Let's go to Liberia. Let leave Liberia right on the thing and go to Liberia. So
if I start breathing the breath away, it's part for if we go out.
me, listen, me here, right? Me here in technology. I help the world communicate, right? I'm in telecommunication. I tell you, Sapolosia or Sharif, your job, I gotta call your boss to find out what's going on there. Maybe they let you too much. But me here, I have to go through a code of conduct training every month. Every month, that thing pop
you're already sincere.
No, that thing pop up every month, Sharif. You don't do it and go to your director, and that's a thing that make you may likely lose your job if you miss 3 or 4 of those training. Then we have integrated training also. Imagine this, Sharif. You are a customer. We do HIPAA training. My previous job, we had to do HIPAA training. I'm in IT, but we had to do HIPAA training because we're playing with customer data. You understand? If I see your name, Sharif, or even right now in this current job, I have the ability to see phone numbers of everybody all the customers that I deal with. You understand? So I can say I won't call Sharif and cuss him because he did something bad to me. You understand? Or I can go and turn off Sharif now because Sharif did something bad to me. You understand? So if you don't do ethics training, all those things, you have people who can just say, all right, I'm going to set up my own communication system where I can call to Liberia for free. You understand? So you see where this can go. If you don't have those ethics training, you don't have those code of conduct training, you could become a rogue employee. And still with those training in place, people still do rogue stuff in companies. People hack. They have something called internal hacking. Somebody will usually take the company resources and use it for their own benefit. You understand? So even in Liberia, where we had civil war, people that were former rebel leader that could just order somebody to die, to be killed, those people left from there, they became leaders. And today we expect them to be good leaders. How can we expect that? How can we expect our country to go forward if the people that were giving command left and right? My man, oh, that man, he's smarting on my girlfriend. You'll kill him. You understand? How can we expect those people now?
The longest show we have ever had.
I know it does. Yeah, my man, I forget it.
Let's send it. You know, somebody wants to send a CV. I mean, Ambassador Heron. You know, but clearly people agree with you, Stephen, that we need training. So people agree with your point. So you don't even have to defend it. They agree with you.
Thank you.
They agree with you. But you know, the one thing that all of you are missing, even the people that agree with you, let me disagree with our audience. All the people that agree with you, and all the people that agree with you and Sapalucia, let me tell you one thing you're missing. All of the examples that you guys gave, you are talking about employee relation kind of thing. You are talking about private sector kind of setting. You are talking about businesses running. The same when you say you give the analogy of the people that they met our rebel leader that were giving command to kill, that same man getting leadership. You are the same people that run up and down the street and say you came my mind, you came my power, vote for you. You are already clueless about these things. You're already clueless. I'm sorry, you're already clueless. And because of that, all of these practice companies employee, it is required that you do it. Do I expect my president to go through ethics training? No,
yes.
That is foolish.
No, Sharif, that's not accurate. The generals in the military go through leadership training. They are government.
I'm not saying, you know, I'm not saying any of this. But
I don't
know if somebody is standing in front of President Paul Kagame and say you gotta go through ethics.
But that's the problem. That's the problem that is wrong with Africa, though. That's the problem that is wrong with Africa. Because they don't want to go. They think that they're
Do you think Trump is going through leadership?
I mean, Trump is not a normal president. If you tell me about Obama, then I will understand. If you tell me say Obama,
if I go to Africa, you say that Africa.
No,
I come to America and say
now I'm bringing you a president that when he goes anywhere, people respect him. Even out of office, he's respected in the current president. Obama has advisors. That's what the advisors are there for, to give them that leadership.
Thank you. My point exactly. And they are
not going to that's the point you make it. However, wait now.
No, it is expected.
So yes, that is the leadership.
The minister, all of these people got people next to them. They call them deputies.
Exactly.
If I'm minister of health, I got my deputy minister for administration. I got my deputy.
I'm not voting for you again.
The minister needs training on how to deal with his deputies. The deputy needs training on how to deal with his deputies. Just like that, my CEO attend this training. My CEO from my company, he has it. They got a tiers. We got different tiers. We got up to tiers 5. Okay, so the tier 5 they also attend the same training. So from tier 5 all the way to tier 3.
Guys, I will move that it should be adjourned for another.
So yeah, we're talking about Narco still. We come to we need to have the discussion. We need to have the discussion.
Seriously, we need to come back on this leadership thing.
Let's do a whole segment on ethics and leadership.
I think so. I think so. Because,
and I will do my research. I will do my books.
And Sherry will take that training before he comes to this show.
You sign. You show a certificate. I got one book I will give you. You show a certificate for that.
But then this is a discussion. I know you guys.
I will bring my book. I will bring my book because when we go into school and we're learning to be leaders in the world tomorrow, it is in the classroom we learn leadership. Sabalusi, I agree with you. Military is a different field. Military, police, any security thing, your security is ongoing because it evolves. But in most of us who are coming to go into the private world, the classroom is what prepares us. We don't just sit. That's what I love about American education. We don't just sit there and say, memorize the school 100 on the test. You are doing real world thing. I will bring a book that I studied. I kept that book. How great leaders think. It had nothing to do with my career path, but they were
No.
teaching me leadership skill in school.
Mhm.
So when I get out, nobody had to come tell me you need to be a better leader. No, sir.
So,
Because
but
I already did that.
Sherry, you forgetting to know that you are an English student, so you probably like reading already. So whether somebody gotta tell you something, you like reading business, so you will go and read and learn stuff.
No.
But imagine our leaders
It is.
in Liberia there. Our leader in Liberia there, the men are sitting down to
This is one of my books. I had to read this books. This book.
But no, Stevie, you were talking
No.
about leadership thing. I learned about something. They said on one of our talk shows.
Love a business strategy. This is a beautiful book to read. Love you say as a business strategy.
I would definitely check it out. But Stevie was talking about leadership. I thought about one of the other talk shows. They said,
The five dysfunctional.
My man, Chapo, let's say where that man finish.
Good leadership books.
So, but no, seriously, Stevie, you're talking about leadership. They said, reading business. They said one of our talk show I saw, they post something on the screen. They said, let the lawmaker read it. Somebody said, the lawmaker can read. Have you ever heard your lawmaker reading?
Yeah. But anyway, give me AFL minute test to read.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying the minimum sit down in front of the video. They watch the video, and the time then they take a video of them watching the video. That's the only way.
Let us end this show now because
we can't make them to read, so we have to let them watch some.
All right, guys. Here's my
closing statement. We can turn it back, guys.
Here's my closing statement. Gentlemen, I'm glad that we had this conversation today. But no matter where we put it, the one thing that we all agree on, Liberia is not a narco state, and I hope Liberia will never be a narco state. And I applaud the government for the arrests they have done so far, but we still need to get to the top. We don't just need the foot soldiers. We need those that gave the instruction, those that gave the command and say, export this, or go and provide security for this person. We need to get to those people. When the government do that, then at this point in time, I will know that the government is serious to fight this war, declare war on drugs, and they are ready to eradicate it. But until then, it is a step in the right direction, but I am still not satisfied. Thank you so much.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. It was a good discussion, and I hope you had some insight. Again, we are not the experts on drugs, we're not experts on security, but at least from what we have been informed of by either the IG or various newspapers in Liberia, this is where we are making our informed decision or having an informed discussion. With that being said, I want to say thank you. Look, Liberia is not a narco state. Okay, I strongly believe that. However, if we want to prevent that, we need to take the right steps to prevent those things. That is, first, make sure our people, our security system or platform is set up to date to fight drugs. We should make sure the incentives of our officers are there. There is no reason anybody who's going to be fighting drugs, a guy who's coming to entice you with money, will be making $150. They need to raise the minimum wage of a police in our country to at least $1,500 every month, to give them that courage that they can withstand the temptation of getting or being bribed by $5,000 or $2,000. The reason the guys are attacking these people in the street for money is because they're getting underpaid. So in order to prevent that, let us make sure we are preparing our people, training them, providing them incentives, and making them establish and have love for their country. Let them think about their citizens. Let them think about their children when they're serving, because that is a service that even the man who's sitting out there making $50,000, $20,000 would not be willing to make, but he or she is on that front making that sacrifice for you. So let us pay them well so that they can be able to do their job peacefully. And with that, I think it can prevent some of these drugs from coming in. And also, let our lawmakers, when they have this so-called concession agreement, quote-unquote investors, let them investigate it thoroughly. Look, we have system in place. You don't have to be, we don't have the system in Liberia. All the political parties got their supporters in the diaspora. They can use them to vet some of these organizations that come in, whether in Europe, if the company is coming from Europe or America or wherever it's coming from, use those people that you have in the diaspora to vet these companies so that we can have good companies coming to Liberia. Because I can tell us, if we allow Liberia to go to a narcotic state, Liberia is not going to be safe for anybody. Anybody. Because you can be president, somebody will kidnap your son and you ask you to pay ransom, or they will demand that you do certain things for them, and you may not be in a position to do. So let us not wish for that. Let us not make this drug issue a political issue. Let it be used as a crisis, and let all Liberians put our hands around the government, give the information that we can give, and help curtail this. Other than that, Liberia will regret it. With that, I want to say thank you again for watching. Let us address this crisis and let us fight it together. For united we stand, divided we will fall. And if Liberia shall rise, we all need to work together and fight drugs, and wage war on drugs in Liberia. Thank you, and God bless.